I'm Barabara Townsend, and I live in San Rafael, California, and I'm a graduate of Arkansas State from 1982. Well, it's a little scary. You know, you get out of college and you have a lot of ideas and you're excited, but you really don't know where to go. And I moved back to St. Louis, so I really didn't have any contacts there. I didn't stay local, didn't have any connections, and so I spent the first summer sort of being my mom and dad's wife and painting the house and cooking dinner every night, watching a lot of Cardinal baseball, but trying to figure out what it is that I was going to do. And I initially thought, well, I'll try to get a job in radio because I'd had a lot of experience in radio at ASU and also previously in high school, and that didn't really work out. And then I tried to get jobs at television stations, but I didn't have any experience and they didn't really know me, and so that was difficult. And finally, you know, I just thought, wow, I went to a radio station and they said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I really want to work in TV. And they go, well, what are you doing here? And I thought, wow, yeah, what am I doing here? You know, and I was kind of going through an old paradigm of working your way up through radio, which was valid in the 70s, but not so much in the 80s, and certainly not now. You know, if you want to work in radio, then go work in radio, but it's certainly no way to get into TV, which I was learning the hard way. So I was at home doing dishes one night, and I thought, wow, you know, this is a bummer. You know, I can't get a job and I can't get into TV stations that I don't have experience, but how do I get experience if I can't get a job? So I started calling the cable companies, and I called Warner Amex Cable, which was the cable provider, and they had a cable access channel. So I called them and I kind of fibbed, and they said, oh, are you the intern that called last week? And I said, yeah, I'm the intern. And they're like, oh, well, come in next week. And I said, okay. So I came in, and they were very impressed with me because I knew if I just got my foot in the door, if I could just talk to them, it would be okay. So, and I thought, well, you know, I'd rather work for free and get experience than not work at all. And I think that's a key, is being willing to work for free, to being able, and I don't mean work for free and give your skills away, but if you want experience, what are you willing to do to get that experience? So I worked for free for one day. And then they said to me, you're no intern. And I went, no, not really, sorry. And they said, well, we'll hire you. And I said, awesome. So then I had this really fantastic career running camera for high school football and hockey games and doing sound for an Access music show, and then I was working in the master control and loading movies, and it was fantastic. It was really fun. It didn't pay anything, but it was a thrill, and I was learning a lot, and I enjoyed that. And then from there, I started working on sports trucks, just pulling cables, helping out, not really knowing really anything, but just being open to learning and trying to kind of feel my way through it, and that's kind of how I run my life anyway. I like to be organic, and I like to kind of listen to my gut about, you know, my path, and not try to do so much with my head and do more with my heart. And from that, someone said, oh, you know, you should learn how to use a character generator, Chiron. You know, we need tons of people to help us do that. It's a new way of doing titling on sports and things. So I thought, oh, that's a great idea. So I drove my car from St. Louis to Long Island, took the 1-week course at Chiron, you know, used my savings, $1,500, you know, put myself up in a hotel, came back to St. Louis and got hired at the NBC affiliate, and went from 1 year of really not making any money to making really good union money and working on the major newscast. And worked there for 1 year, transitioned to the NBC O&O in DC, worked there for 1 year, and the next thing you know, the executives come from New York and say, we want you to work on the Today Show. And I then moved to New York and was there for 8 years. So my first career was in broadcast. I worked on the Today Show, and I was a motion graphics artist, kind of at the beginning of motion graphics. Motion graphics, as we know it now, is done digitally with After Effects, and kind of speaks more to the second career I had. But in my first career, motion graphics was back when tape was 2 inches thick, and you know, now we don't even use tape. So it was way back in the Wayback Machine. But I was doing motion graphics on the Today Show, and then from there, I became interested in 3D and using a computer. And I was fortunate enough to talk my boss into sending me out to learn that. And I made a deal with him that if I couldn't get an animation on the air within 3 months, that was it. He could never listen to me again, and I would continue training editors and doing whatever they said, and I would be quiet as a mouse, which kind of was a lie because I'm never quiet as a mouse. And I had 10 animations on the air in 2 months. So then all of a sudden I was an animator, and that was exciting, and I was one step closer to my dream, which was working on a movie like Star Wars, which was what changed my life when I was a teenager. And then from there, I was able to segue into being an animator, doing 3D projects, still working for broadcast, but more post-production, and did that for another year, and then got my dream job and started working on visual effects for film at Industrial Light and Magic. I had some exceptional teachers at ASU. Richard Carville and Charles Raspberry, and they are still friends of mine and still mentors of mine. And while I was at ASU, the skills I learned, I continue to use. They're not the skills that most people would think. It wasn't running a camera or learning how to thread a mic or use a audio board, but it was learning how to conceive a project, understanding the project workflow, and realizing it to completion. I learned critical thinking. I learned how to work as a team. I learned how to revise. I learned some basic writing skills, which are very important. And those are the kind of things that I still think about and I still use. I think that most technical skills, I think it's up to the student what they're interested in. I think if you want to be an editor, there's tons of ways you can learn online, the technical things, and but they're tools, right? But the skills they should learn while in school, while at a university, while they have the opportunity, is be a spectacular failure. Put yourself out there, be a risk taker, dare to be great. Come up with high concept ideas. Fly high, because you've got the best safety net. You've got mentors and teachers around to help guide you. When you're out in the real world, it's not quite as easy sometimes because you're paying the bills. But when you're in college and university setting, you have a lot of opportunities to try things, and I suggest you try it. Dare to be great, live on the edge, find your edge. What is that? Get out of your comfort zone. Try different roles. You may want to be in front of the camera, but maybe you're really a good director. And maybe you're not a good director, maybe you're an excellent editor, or maybe you should be a producer. Try different hats on. And I think that way you come out well-rounded with a good understanding of the entire production process and a better ability to adapt to a changing work environment. Well, I think it's huge. I think networking in general is huge. I think it's foolish to not put yourself out there and to network and to follow through with emails. It's easier than ever to network. It used to be, a piece of stationery and send a letter, and try to get it there in a timely manner. But now, an email, a phone call, is super important. And the alumni that have come before, they are ready to give back, and they're ready to mentor you, and they're ready to give you the benefit of their experience, and you should use that. Because that is the difference. Those are the little things. Just that one well-placed phone call can be a door into another industry or a contact to a job. Work hard, work with integrity, be open, be willing to try new things, and get excited. Find your passion. What is it that makes you happy? Where is your creative impulse? Everyone has one. Find it and touch into it, and then use that to guide you in your choices. And try everything. Try everything and fail at most of it, but then that's how you find out what you want. I find that, in my younger life, it's all about trying things. When you get older, you get a little better idea from trying all those things what doesn't work for you. and you still, you're narrowing your choices down and you're getting closer to that passion. But I think, you know, the sooner you can touch into your passion, the easier it will be to find your way in this crazy, crazy world that's moving so fast, but it's really, really fun. And just jump in the river and go with the flow, because it's a great ride.